Hello and welcome back to New Paradigm Healing. This series focuses on Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy. Our intention is to educate, inform, and support the conscious and responsible use of ayahuasca in the Western context. If you want to know more about Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy and our upcoming trainings and workshops, sign up for our mailing list to be the first one to know about the latest news at avatarhealingarts.com. Hello and welcome back to our podcast about Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy. And we are here today with Libby. I'm so excited. Thank you, love, for coming and sharing with us. It's just such a pleasure to have you here. And we're going to talk about your experience and sharing about your experience, hopefully inspiring others today. So big welcome. And I'm here with Casey, who is assisting me in this podcast in the last few episodes. So welcome, Casey, welcome, Libby, and let's dive in.
Awesome. It's good to be here. Libby, it's nice to meet you. Libby just finished the program with Nina. And so I'm really excited to dig in and talk to her about all of what she learned during this program with Nina. This is an awesome perspective. So thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to dive in with your journal. You had quoted some things. It was about a year ago, Libby, that you went through the program, or when you started this journey?
Yeah, so my initiation was in mid-December of 2019. There was a couple months of prep work that I did with Nina before I sat with the medicine. So I just completed my full cycle of that assisted therapy and integration process with her.
And so some of these quotes that you had sent, I would love to read from your journal, just to give an idea of the state that you were in about a year ago, some of the issues that you were having and what led you to Nina and the medicine and to take this big step, this big journey. So you start by saying, the last 8 months, I have panic attacks every single Tuesday before and after staff meetings. I have trouble breathing, you're shaky, you're dizzy, nauseous, anxious, and you're in a panic. You're not feeling like yourself. You can't even remember how it feels to feel like yourself. You don't know how to stand up because of fear, and you don't stop to take a break. You work yourself to death. You talk about being in this state. Talk about your mindset in when you started this journey, when you met Nina, what led you to Nina, and kind of your space when you were writing these things.
Yeah, so I was just literally just living in this constant state of pain. I had very, very, very high levels of pain. Whether or not we're going to put a label on it, whether I was diagnosed by a doctor in the Western world with something. And it all just related back to fear and mistrust and just previous conditioning of our Western society of just working myself to death, really just fighting for survival. I was working 7 days a week. My husband was working 7 days a week. It's good to work hard, but with working hard, there also needs to be a balance. And I was just working myself so hard that I didn't know what it was like to live without pain. I had become so used to just being in so much excruciating pain that I just ignored these signs that my body was telling me to just back off. It got to a point where I just didn't know how to take a break. And I had actually met Nina during a hot yoga teacher training in the fall of 2015. And whether or not I was supposed to become a yoga teacher or not, I still to this day believe that I was destined to meet her then. And I had just stayed in contact with her over the next 4 years. And I think that it was ultimately something that was building and building and building through the yoga, through my life, through my experiences that always led me back to her
I think that was really interesting. I remember when we started actually the preparation, like you were not 100% if you want to go ahead and actually do a work with the medicine. We did the therapy because, you know, either way, she
Because I
wanted,
needed it.
yeah, she wanted
I wanted it. I needed it.
to
Yes.
heal. I told her that, you know, it's your choice and you have to feel into it and you're gonna feel, you know, if this is your path. And it was like, how you remember, Libby, how was that for you? You know, it was these synchronicities building up before you coming and all the timing. Tell a little bit about that, because that was such an amazing experience.
Well, you know, I did have a few synchronicities, especially in the 6 months to a year. And then even in like the final push, like the final 2 weeks before my opportunity to sit with the medicine, there was just a lot of divinity happening, a lot of signs, a lot of just people coming in, crossing my path and just telling me, you know, I couldn't even chew and swallow my food. And there were some people that were like, you know, ayahuasca can help you with that. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I have the opportunity to do that. Nina, I don't know if that's exactly the synchronicities that you were talking about, but
that we not decided. We said that, okay, if everything flows, you're gonna do a ceremony, but if not, it's okay too. You're gonna come down anyways, you know, to have some in person. And what I said was that just be open and signs and guidance will show up. And one of remember that you went to your psychiatrist or some of the doctors you work with. That was one of the cool things. And then
that one. Yeah. So I had, my father passed away when I was 17 years old. It was at, you know, kind of a turning point in my life. Like I was about to go to university. You know, I had been this competitive, like big shot swimmer my entire life. And just like my world kind of came crashing down. But I just felt like I had to keep putting one foot in front of the other because that's what society was doing. And at the time, in order to do that, I was prescribed to Xanax. And that's what the doctors said would help me. And that's also what I believed. And, you know, I'm definitely not ashamed to talk about this anymore. And so in order for me, you know, to get re-prescribed to Xanax, which is what I thought would help me with pain, which is what I thought would help me keep moving forward in life, I was going to a psychiatrist. And when I needed to get new psychiatrists in Chicago, I kept having them say, you know, you can't keep taking this stuff, you know, even, you know, the ones in Indiana where I had previously lived, you know, just wrote the script like nothing. The ones in Chicago were like, oh, no way, you need to get off of this. We got to come up with a plan. And that was probably the scariest thing for me, was to be living in this state of fear and then to have these doctors tell me, you got to get off of this. This is going to damage your brain. This isn't good for you. And I was so confused. Well, I had a doctor. I said, hey, I'm going to go down for this psychotherapy with my healer in Mexico. And then she actually said off the record, if I had the chance to try ayahuasca, that could probably help me come off of Xanax and help me with my fear and help me with my panic attacks. And I was like, oh my God, well, I think I have the opportunity to do that. And that was, I didn't need her to tell me that, but that was one of the synchronicities that was like also very, very divine. And, you know, just the universe lining up for me and really making me feel like I was making a good decision. Just, I felt like held, I guess, and supported. So that was one really, really, really cool synchronicity.
Are you in the US, Libby?
I am in the US.
That's pretty cool that a doctor in the Western world would recommend ayahuasca. That's really unique.
It's really unique. You know, it had to be off the record. I'm no longer her patient anymore. And, you know, I have told her that if she ever wanted to know a little bit more about it, that I'd love to also have a talk with her. Maybe I could send her this podcast when it's all done.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. So I just wanted to emphasize this point, to our listeners, that a lot of preparation went into this. It wasn't that she showed up, for ceremony that we scheduled like 24 hours before. It was months of therapy, and then this external guidance and the synchronicities and the timing and everything all coming together. But I want to ask you, Libby, that beyond all of these things, because you did a lot of healing work, alternative and also Western medicine and medications for many, many years. So can you pinpoint what was exactly, that made you decide, okay, this is my path and I believe that this is going to help me?
Oh, well, the breaking point for me was, when I was in so much pain, and I also was going through a place where I couldn't chew and swallow food. That was the moment when I just knew that I needed to do something different, that the path that I was on was not sustainable, and that I could not keep living my life in that way. Like we just talked about, I took the leap. I got on the plane with all the preparation that I needed, but I still just wasn't quite sure if I was ready for something like as powerful and amazing as ayahuasca. But it was really that moment when I got in the car with the driver that took me to the place, and I was like, this is happening. And when we were sitting in the circle, I felt like that was where I was supposed to be. And I knew that something really amazing not was about to happen, but was already happening. And that it was just going to keep getting better from there. And that I had a handful of people in my life, my husband, Nina, that were going to hold me accountable for this. And that was very important to me as well, knowing that.
Awesome. Is that okay, love, if we read your personal prayer for the ceremony? Can we share that? That was such a beautiful prayer. And we talked about this in previous episode, that during the preparation, you write your personal prayer, or what would you like to get out of this experience. So Casey, would you mind reading that part for us?
Sure, I'd love to. Dear Mother, thank you for inviting me to meet you today. It's with the utmost gratitude that I come before you with complete surrender to your power and knowledge. I ask for your guidance to show me what forgiveness and all-encompassing love feels like. Please help me to find balance, bring healing into my body, let go, clear my mind, think positively, follow my heart, trust myself, to act and speak my truth. Help me to connect all parts of being, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Please help me to love and forgive myself and to find my higher purpose in this life. Show me how I can be in service fearlessly and creatively to this world. Thank you. I command all my power into the power of the universe to support me. So be it, so it is. Blessings on myself and my path. Talk about this prayer and how you came up with this. That was really beautiful, Libby.
Well, I came up with that, like, one of my gifts is that I can, write really well. I write from the heart. And when something's right with me, it just flows. So that's just, I actually wrote that the night before I went, and that's just really how I felt. And I do remember actually reciting that, during my initiation ceremony. And, that's really just everything, everything that I asked for. That was everything that I was kind of I don't necessarily want to say missing, but not fully able to enact on in my life, or that's the balance that I needed to bring back into my life. So that's where that prayer came from.
And how do you feel now, a year and a half later? Do you feel that this prayer was fulfilled, and did you receive all these things that you were asking for?
I do feel that. And whenever I feel, a little out of balance or out of whack, I actually do kind of think back to my prayer and remember what my intention was. And pretty much just my awareness pretty much just comes right back to that. So this is all just something that I keep, it's just a cycle. It just keeps going and building positively. And it's all about awareness, and the awareness that I gained through this process, through this healing journey. So to answer your question, it's yes. And I also just believe that it is going to just exponentially get better and better as I keep living my life and I keep growing. So
you talked about December 13th, 2020, you died and you were reborn. And it really stood out to me that this integration in the past year has been the best year of your life. And I can totally relate to that, but explain kind of that and where you are now, and that little piece that you sent.
Sure. So, wow. So the ceremony itself, there was a lot of energy involved in that ceremony. It's something that I will never forget. And there was a lot of joy, a lot of pain, a lot of, everything in that couple hours. And like we've said, that was the initiation. That was just the beginning. The real work, it starts just right after that. And there were some times of darkness, which you can expect. And there was also just massive amounts of light. I did receive a lot of gifts. Some that at the time I never thought they were going to be gifts. I was given an exit to my previous job, and because of that exit, I was able to start other things, to start other projects with this COVID-19 pandemic. My husband started working from home. And so, like I said a few minutes ago, having that extra support and having this person that we are just such a team, having him by my side to help me heal through this was, oh my gosh, I can't even explain how blessed and lucky I was to have him and be in this little cocoon throughout those months that we were on the stay-at-home order in Chicago, Illinois. We just had this peaceful little tiny studio apartment. It was like a little cave with all this chaos outside, and really just nothing could touch me. Additionally, I was able to make a huge move out to sunny Arizona. And, I went from this massive concrete jungle, which really also wasn't conducive or sustainable to the life that I wanted to live. And now I'm just living in the middle of the desert, and it's very, very healing and very therapeutic. There's sun shining everywhere. I have windows, I have sunlight. And without finally taking the steps to heal this way, to start really looking at these things in my life, I don't think that I would have ever stopped and had the courage to come out here, or thought it was even possible. So that's part of the reason why it was the best year of my life, 2020.
How's your relationship with your husband since all of this? Has that gotten stronger? And
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, we met in Berlin, Germany. We were both studying abroad. We've always just loved being in small spaces together. Like we're like barnacles to each other. And so we've never had an issue with our relationship. And every time we just get closer and closer and our bond is even stronger, I feel like it couldn't get any stronger than it is. So it's definitely not something we needed to work on. But it's just like at this explosive level of amazingness. So yes.
Here. And it's so important, you know, to have support apart from therapy and professional help, to have, you know, tribe, family, friendships, and like-minded people who can support you, because this is really a major aspect of the integration. I would like if you would talk a little bit about the pain, because I think a lot of people can relate to being in physical pain, chronic pain. And how do you think that what helped you with your journey to deal with the root? What do you think the root issue was that was causing the pain? And how did you manage to let that go and have this pain disappear from your body? And how are you, you know, how are you feeling right now in your body as a result of that?
Yeah, so one of the biggest tools that helped me the most was actually before. Now, this didn't help me so much at the time, but before the initiation, so the preparation work, I started to track my pain in a journal and then relate them to my emotions or feelings or what was happening, what was I doing, what were my activities. And then that brought into my awareness, like, oh, maybe I was, or probably I was working too hard or pushing myself too hard. And the most common denominator was fear and anxiety. I was diagnosed with in the Western world with reflex sympathetic dystrophy syndrome, which is chronic pain. So a huge, long explanation, but it's ultimately chronic pain. No cure, blah, 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 all those things. But there is a cure, and the cure is awareness. And the cure is awareness and breath. And
that awareness helped you to create a different behavior that helped you to release that pain.
Yes, so that awareness helped me to create different behavioral patterns and also different thought patterns. So I deconstructed all of my prior conditioning. Like I said, I was a competitive swimmer from the age of 3. I would swim very, very, very long hours. I was very militant, had a pretty militant personality, almost type A, not quite, borderline type A. There was always that like free spirit, just like itching, like trying to get out. But yeah, so that awareness really helped me, you know, if I start feeling any pain, I've learned now to just take a step back. You know, it's a warning sign. Like no one should ever have to live in chronic pain. And no one should also have a doctor tell them that there's no cure. No one should ever have to accept that. And I think that it was, that was also something that made it worth trying this. To step into this journey was, you know, having doctors just say like, you know, there's nothing we can do besides give you pills. And even that won't work.
It's you know, changing the behavior. And I think this is, you touched on such an important point in terms of pain as a signal from your body to stop, to take a step, to take a breath, to tune in, listen what your body needs, what you need in that moment. And as you said, you know, we are conditioned, and in your case you were even more conditioned as a competitive athlete, just to push through the pain. That was your default behavior when I met you. If you were pain, you went to the class, you know. And
yes, that was my default. Yeah.
Yoga practice is quite a strenuous practice, and I remember we having that conversation that you were like, that's not strenuous, and I looked up the strenuous the definition of internet, you know, and which category the hot yoga is, and it was categorized as a strenuous exercise, you know. So your perception was completely different, and your automatic behavior was to do more and push through. And this just escalated the pain. And once you become aware of this and started to stop and relax and rest, you know, and listen more into yourself, then what happened then? Tell us.
Then my pain definitely, it subsided to the point where it pretty much did dissolve. And that was because I learned how to trust myself. To learn how to relax, to practice other things. Like, you know, I like to challenge myself. So if all these things, like strenuous things and things that may or may not have caused me pain, came so easily, why don't I try to challenge myself to relax? And the more I practiced, the more awareness I gained. And you know, the more I started to get it, the more I started to realize what that balance was and how to apply that balance into my life. And it really, it's a lot for me at least. It's a lot about my thought patterns and my feelings and emotions and my perception, my perspective of different things. It's a choice, but like I said, the more you practice those choices and the more aware you are of your awareness, it's just, it really starts falling into place.
Absolutely. Another huge, I think, change was for you coming off from Xanax during this whole journey. And again, just as you mentioned earlier, a lot of people put on these types of medication long term that has many side effects, and even, you know, some doctors are aware of this or recommend it not to take it. But you know, it's not so easy to come off of these medications when somebody is, you know, used to it for many years. So how was your experience with that, and how does this process and the medicine and everything help you to do that?
Yeah, so pretty much what made this coming off of a drug like Xanax for me was finally having it be in my control. It was something that I finally made the decision, like, I want to do this, instead of it being on someone else's terms. And the awareness that the ayahuasca and my integration, my assisted therapy helped me was with that awareness. Also, you know, it's all one thing. It's all one. It was almost kind of like the same thing with the pain tracking. I was like, okay, if I learned how to be out of pain, then I really don't need the Xanax, right? Because I was using the Xanax to not be in pain. So, you know, I think if I was brave enough to go on this journey and learn all these tools, that I really have the power within me to just do it. And I did.
Point why I asked this question, because that's what I wanted you to share, that you came to this realization that you are the healer, and you don't need neither the pill, neither, you know, the pain, you know, and you trusted yourself. You had the awareness that you have the ability to heal and to change your behavior, to change your life. And you trusted this, you know, in this case, when you took this other step and you recognize this is, you know, just a different way of taking your power back and trusting yourself and applying your wisdom and knowledge, you know, in a way that you desire.
Yes. exactly. Exactly.
What kinds of things have
Yes.
you done? You said you used to work 7 days a week, and like when you started to slow down and all of that, what types of things have you done that have helped you take time for yourself and make those shifts?
Yeah. So this is also something pretty interesting. Um, I have a whole new, before I started this, I've always loved food. I've always loved food. It's just that um, not only can I chew and swallow again, no problem, but I also have a different relationship with food. I actually, uh, with the stay-at-home order, I really started cooking a lot for myself, for my family, um, taking this role on, but also like it's also like a hobby to me now. So that's something, cooking, baking, these pretty awesome recipes that I really enjoy. Um, just taking care of myself in that way, and also just taking care of my family as well in that way. I am still practicing yoga. I'm pretty much always, I think, going to practice yoga. That was a huge unveiling for me. Um, you know, I think what helped me start this whole process was actually yoga asana. Um, 6 years ago, um, was when I really started practicing yoga asana. And yeah, so here, here I am. Yeah.
Can I read just something about the 1 year when we finished the integration? It were
Yes, of
some
course.
a year ago I died and was reborn. Wow. I can't even explain how grateful I am for the ayahuasca and for Nina for sharing her guiding light for me and helping me to find the healer in myself. The last year, this year of integration, was the best year of my life. I found freedom in my body, mind, and spirit. I have zero anxiety, and my life is beyond great. I trust myself and the universe. I have the awareness and the ability to choose happiness always. This cannot ever be taken away from me. The power within me is burning bright. I am the actual phoenix rising. It's so symbolic. I love that. I have the phoenix too. My heart flutters with joy. I affirm this through my reality. Every single day, I am happy and I am in the flow. I am thankful for the awareness of myself as the healer, as the creator of my life. So this is so beautiful, and I think it's such a good summary, of how you, the point, that you came to, and the whole transformation. And I think what most people experience when they go through this type of healing journey is to come in a state of victimhood and powerlessness and hopelessness to this state of confidence, trust, and empowerment, and the awareness that you have this power and you have choices, and you can create, what you desire. So is there anything you would like to add, Libby? That's something that you think that your message to the world, to the people who are listening?
Well, I absolutely agree with what I just with what you just read that I said. Um, that's very absolute. Wow. Yeah, the biggest thing, I used to kind of like almost be offended or something by like being called a victim. But like, don't be offended by that. Something that Nina really helped me understand and really just helped me also was that I was ignorant. I didn't know any better, and that's also because of my conditioning. I came looking for help. I came looking how to restore my power, to restore myself. And there's nothing wrong with being a victim, but if you want to help yourself, I really encourage you to just bravely move forward. with this direction. It was the best thing that I could have ever done for myself. It truly saved my life. There's just no way I could have kept living the way I was living. I'm so grateful that, I was 29 years young when I got to do this. I'm 30 years old now, and I feel like I was so lucky to have experienced this at such a young age, because I was able to become aware, learn from my ignorance, and that was really important to me. And like I said, I want to give anyone who's really thinking about it to reach out to someone like Nina to learn more about it. If you have any questions, it's worth just talking about with her. And sending you love, sending you everything you need, because you have the ability to be your healer. That's what all humans are supposed to be. We're supposed to be in charge of our lives. And it sounds so like stereotypical, but I think that's also because of like what society is trying to make culturally normal right now. But yeah, stand against that and move forward with your life, and take your power back, because it's just so important.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh, to that, sister. What beautiful words. I'm so honored and grateful to walk this journey with you and to witness your rising as a phoenix from the ashes.
Yes.
Such an honor and privilege, and thank you for coming and sharing yourself with the world, and with our listeners. Yes, and thank you, Kate, for being
thank you, Libby. Yeah, I think that the audience listening to this, you gave some very valuable information, and thank you for your bravery and your honesty. You are amazing. So I've really enjoyed talking to you and having the pleasure of learning your story and getting to know you a little bit more.
Thanks, Casey, and thank you, Nina.
Thank you, and
this was a pleasure.
Love to our audience from all three of us, sending lots of love to you wherever you are on the earth. And remember that you are the healer and love is the medicine. And stay tuned for our next episode.